The passion for the sport is what brings us here. Your love and support keep the fire alive. One little click helps the channel thrive. So tap that like, it helps us grow. Support the stream, let the whole world know. Marshall Hughes, where the fight talk lives. The best predictions that the channel gives. So tap that like, it helps us grow. Support the stream, let the whole world know. Marshall Hughes, where the fight talk lives. The best predictions that the channel gives. Through every round, we're keeping it clear. The passion for the sport is what brings us here. Your love and support keep the fire alive. One little click helps the channel thrive. So tap that like, it helps us grow. Support the stream, let the whole world know. Marshall Hughes, where the fight talk lives. The best predictions that the channel gives. So tap that like, helps us grow. Support the stream, the whole world know. Marshall Hughes, where the fight talk lives. The best predictions that the channel gives. So tap that like.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, got a bunch of UFC fights announced by the one and only Dana White. Says he announced 9 fights. From what I've seen so far, I do think some of these fights we already knew of, nothing that we're surprised. But we're gonna break everything down. We're gonna react to everything, react to the whole announcement video, and then break it down. Of course, as the title of this stream said, the biggest announcement, obviously, Hamza Chimaev versus Sean Strickland is set and official. So I think that's the main one we're going to be breaking down on this stream. But yeah, please guys, go ahead and hit that like button. All right. Yes sir, yes sir. Smash that like button before we get into everything. But yeah, let's go ahead and check this out, man. Let's go ahead and check this out. Let's see. All right. Okay, so let's see, got this here. Oh yeah, and I did drop a video, pretty much a clip from the last live stream breaking down Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. So after the stream, guys, do me a favor, go ahead and go check that video out. Hit the like, share it with yourself, man. Just help out a small channel, man, any way you can. Okay, you know how the algorithm works. It helps me out with the algorithm. But let's go ahead and break this down. So real quick, before we go into the full fight announcements and the breakdowns, the most interesting thing I've seen so far is something regarding the White House card. Let's see what Dana White says. So he says they're gonna have we're going to be ticketing 85,000 people, and tickets are free. We'll announce how we'll be giving them away soon. I'll tell you one thing for sure, I'm gonna be applying however they do that. For sure. I mean, one of the main discussions of the UFC White House is that this feels like what was the name of that movie? The one where the regular folks fight for the wealthy. What the? No, one of the part was Mockingbird. What was the name? Hold on. I have to find it. I have to find the movie. Let me see. Hunger Games, yeah. So of course, a lot of people have been saying, man, the UFC feels like the Hunger Games, fighting in front of rich people. Fans don't even get to watch. Apparently fans will be able to watch, which is cool. This is what Dana White said.
The way that the White House is laid out, you got the White House, you got the South Lawn, and then there's a road, and then the ellipse is a park that's right there. We're going to be ticketing 85,000 people in the ellipse, and the tickets are free. And we'll announce how we're going to be giving them away soon. But you should plan on going to Washington, D.C. for this event. The way that the White House is laid out, you got the White House, you got the South Lawn, and then there's a road, and then the ellipse is a park that's right there. We're going to be ticketing 85,000 people in the ellipse, and the tickets are free. And we'll announce how we're going to be.
So you heard it from Dana White. Apparently the White House tickets are free. And that is a lot of free tickets. 85,000 people. That's a lot of free tickets, man. Dylan says White House tickets are free. Yeah, they're free, man. That's what Dana White just said. Hamzat ain't no fluffy though. Strickland will struggle bad in my opinion. Yeah, we're gonna go into a deep dive on that fight specifically. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Dana needs to be making all announcements like TGSI. I'm guessing you said you meant to say like this. Never man. Yeah, man, this was a different type of announcement. He wasn't just sitting in his war room office on a freaking Instagram live stream, then announcing the fights like that. That wasn't what he was doing. That, you know, I appreciate the effort. Shit, billion-dollar company, new Paramount era. You better start making the fights the way you better start announcing those fights the way they're supposed to be announced, Dana. It's about time. It's about time. But guys, appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. Everybody that is in here right now is a real one. Help out a small channel. Go ahead and click that like button, all right? To help me out with the algorithm. But without further ado, I think we got a lot of people in here now. We got 30 people in here. All right. If you guys could just smash that like button, that would be great. But let's go ahead and check out these announcements. So I was thinking, hey, should I watch the whole video and then break down the fights, or break it in between? But I think I will do, we can watch the whole video, react, and then, like I said, I'll be specifically focusing on the fight between Hamza Chimaev and Sean Strickland. Hey, what's up, Adam 3301? Strickland versus Hamza is going to be a Drickers versus Hamza too. Yeah, that pretty much, man. Like, that's what I was like. That's why I was like, you know what? I gotta go live to break this down. I'm not gonna sit down and make a whole breakdown video to start breaking out the skill set of Strickland versus the skill set of Hamza, the striking versus the grappling. Like, bruh, we all know what's gonna happen in that fight. I think it's pretty obvious, but can't count Strickland out. Can't count Strickland out. You're the real one, G. Subscribe. Appreciate you, Adam. Shout out to Adam, man. Thank you for that, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. I've gone through the chat a bit. I'll be going through the chat as we're reacting to this, but let's go ahead and check out what Dana has for us.
Miami, let's go! Bring on the heat! Gary Prohaska, the guy rides on chaos. Carlos Ober, this man has future champion written all over him. Joshua Pitt, the second youngest champion next to John Jones. He's the real deal. Tatsuro Taira, a superstar in Japan. Looking to become his nation's first UFC champion. This place is on fire. Bring on the heat!
Hey everybody, welcome inside our studio in the Meta Apex in Las Vegas. Brendan Fitzgerald joined today by UFC CEO Dana White and the Hall of Famer Michael Bisping. We're going to lay out the schedule for you from April through UFC Freedom 250 in June. A lot of action-packed Saturdays coming up. Saturday, April 11th from the Kaseya Center in Miami. It's UFC 327. We know about the two big title fights in terms of where to watch them. That's where we have some news, Dana.
So 4 fights will air on CBS. That's the last 2 prelim fights and the first 2 fights on the main card, including the main event between Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker. Those guys have 32 finishes combined, plus undefeated Azamat Murzakanov against Paulo Costa, who is moving up to 205 pounds, and that guy is never in a boring fight. Coverage on CBS goes.
Man, Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. That's an interesting fight. That's an interesting fight. I think both guys are in a very weird place in their career right now. Dominic Reyes had a crazy downfall and then had a crazy comeback, and then of course got finished again in his last fight. Johnny Walker is just inconsistent. He's all over the place. So that's an interesting matchup. I like that.
From 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern, and you can watch the entire card on Paramount Plus.
Let's get to that main event, Michael. Excitement expected between Giri Prohaska and Carlos Ober.
Yeah, I absolutely love this fight. Of course, with Pereira moving up to the heavyweight division, this is the best fight that you can make in the light heavyweight division.
Of course, Yuri Prohaska versus Carlos Oberg. I think this one we're already aware. It's not the first time I'm hearing of it. They announced this a while ago.
Yuri Prohaska is an absolute maniac inside the octagon. Nothing but action and violence with this guy. Always swinging, looking for the knockout, and he is absolutely determined to become the champion again. On the flip side, you've got Carlos Ulberg riding high on the 9-5 win streak. Every time he steps in there, he just gets better and better. I'm telling you right now, this fight is going to be ridiculous.
Of course, one of 2 title fights at the top of the bill, UFC 327. You didn't notice Beneil Dariush's name on that. Put a bookmark there. We'll get to him in a few moments. After that, we head to Winnipeg for the first time since 2017, where Mike Malott at home in Canada takes on Gilbert Burns in our welterweight main event. Co-main event is at 135. It's a good one between Kyler Phillips and Charles Jourdain, and also the fan favorite from Canada, Jasmine Jasdavicius. She faces off with Karine Silva in a matchup of top 10 flyweights. That goes down on Paramount Plus. All right, now we have another announcement as we switch to later in April, Dana, and a main event.
Saturday, April 25th on Paramount Plus, Aljamain Sterling versus Yusuf Zalal.
Yeah, that's a great fight, Dana, because obviously Aljamain Sterling, the long time.
So we got Aljamain Sterling versus Yusuf Zalal. I'm guessing whoever wins this fight will then fight for the belt next, because both guys are up in the rankings. Yeah, let me get the rankings up here as we're breaking this down, actually, so that way we'll be more accurate with what we're talking about. So if we go to the featherweight division, Aljamain Sterling has had a good run in the featherweight division. His last win, good performance against Brian Ortega, but that's not really saying much. So Yusuf Zalal is number 7 on the rankings in the featherweight division. Aljamain Sterling is number 5. So pretty much a stepping stone for Yusuf Zalal. You already know how the UFC does their thing. Set up the new upcoming guy, prospects, potential guy with the, the old guard. So this is what this is going to be. But yeah, number 4, Yair Rodriguez. So we got number 5 versus number 7. So imagine if Aljamain Sterling wins. I don't think they're going to set him up with Yair Rodriguez. That would be messed up. Liron Murphy versus Movsar Evloev is already next, right? That has to be next, right? Because that fight is set. Why else would they set it up if the winner of that fight is not going to face Volkanovski, right? So obviously the winner of that fight is going to be next for the title. But I think the winner between Yusuf Zalal and Sterling would have a good opportunity to put their name in the conversation after whoever the winner between Murphy and Movsar fights Volk. I know that might be a little complicated, but you get what I mean.
Bantamweight champion. He wants to become a champion at featherweight. Last time we saw him, got a great win over Brian Ortega. But this is a tricky matchup because Yusuf Zalal is on a 5-5 win streak. 4 of those come by way of stoppage, and the man can really do it all. We see here Aljamain Sterling just putting an absolute savage beatdown on a lot of people that he faces in the featherweight division. He really can do it all. He's got great wrestling, and this man is extremely motivated. But as I said, Yusuf Zalal, 5-5 win streak, very light on the feet, beautiful striking, but look at this. Takes down Josh Emmett, takes the back, ends the fight very quickly with a beautiful first round armbar.
Yeah,
this is
nice.
A very tricky matchup for Aljamain Sterling.
Now, the thing about this fight is Yusuf Zalal is very well-rounded, like Bisping said. He can do everything, honestly speaking. He can hold his own on the feet, and then he mixes up the grappling pretty nicely. But I don't know how much the grappling is going to do against someone like Aljamain Sterling, right? I think he would want to make that a striking match because it's not wise engaging in a grappling heavy style MMA fight against someone like Aljamain Sterling. I mean, the guy has been doing that forever. That's literally where he wants to be. So it is a tricky matchup.
He's light on the feet, he's got beautiful footwork, flying knees, and very, very confident in himself. Yusuf Zalal is looking at this one clearly as going through Aljamain Sterling. If he wins, he's looking at a title fight next.
What a way to cap the month of April. Then we go to May 2nd, where we return to Perth, Western Australia. And 2 weeks ago, we announced the main event Jack Della Maddalena versus
Yeah,
Carlos
we're aware of this
What a
one.
main event we
I
have.
mean, come on, who doesn't love this matchup? Jack Della Maddalena, the former champion, going back to Perth. There's always something special about when a champion goes back to their home city. The people are going to go absolutely crazy. Jack's beautiful to watch. He's got some of the best boxing in the UFC. Beautiful work to the body,
Really does.
excellent footwork and angles. But against Carlos Prates, he's going to have to be light on the feet. The head movement's going to have to be on display. But Jack Della Maddalena, I'm telling you, as I said before, some of the very best boxing. But he's got to watch the power of this guy. Carlos Prates is a maniac. 23 wins, 21 by way of knockout, and 3 submissions as well. And last time out, that knockout over Leon Edwards, that put him in this position. And of course, he's got spinning back elbows over the likes of Jess Neal. The man is ridiculously powerful for this division. This is a tremendous matchup.
We told you to stay tuned on Beneil Dariush. Enter this matchup in the co-main event, which should be a great one.
Beneil Dariush will face Quinlan Salkill.
Yeah, and that's a great fight. Everyone knows Beneil Dariush. The man's a
Golly. Beneil Dariush versus Quinlan Salkill?
What the fuck is that?
I don't know, man. I don't know about that one for my boy Benny. I don't know, man. Beneil Dariush versus Salkill, straight up. Right now, I think I'll lean towards Salkill. Now, Benny is more experienced, of course. He's more of a veteran. He's been in the UFC. He's fought the best guys. Like I said, he's the veteran. But man, he's definitely way past his prime, man. Way past his prime. Meanwhile, Salkill is looking like he's hungry. He looks well-rounded. He's had a good run so far in the UFC. Combine his knockout potential. He's a knockout artist with Beneil's lost chin. That's not good, man. That's not good. Dana needs to oil up. Yeah, it's been a campaign for a while. Yeah, I believe one day he will. So you can keep waiting. I think he will one day. But yeah, I don't know about this matchup, man. I don't like it for Beneil. Good fight, but I don't see it going past the first round, honestly speaking. But early prediction.
Perennial content. They've been around the UFC for a long time. 23 wins, 13 finishes, 5 KOs and 8 submissions, and he's fought nothing but the best. But on the flip side, we've got Quinlan Salkill, 11-1 overall on a 10-fight win streak, and of course, coming off 2 back-to-back first round finishes. Last time out at UFC 325, got a beautiful submission over Jamie Malarkey. And who could forget that first round head kick knockout over Nasrat Haqparast? That was insane.
That was crazy.
The fans down under in Australia are always awesome. Usually that's Sunday mornings in Perth, Western Australia. Exciting that they'll get a primetime Saturday night UFC fight card for the first time. That leads to May 9th at UFC 328, the Octagon's return to Newark, New Jersey, where a UFC championship will be on the line.
All right. Yes, sir.
But John Strickland has proven time and time again that he will not back down to anyone.
It's going to be insane. It should be an absolute war. A force unlike anything the fight game has ever seen.
I believe this is the toughest opponent. This man loves violence.
Two of the most aggressive and exciting fighters. This is going to be fun. And I can't wait. Let's go!
The first title defense of the middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev, and it comes against the former champ Sean Strickland. What a matchup. Co-main event is at heavyweight. That's a big one between Alexander Volkov and Waldo Cortes.
This is actually a very, very good card. Not only is this a good fight, Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland, it's actually a good card. We got Chimaev versus Strickland, Alexander Volkov versus Waldo Cortes Acosta. That's a banger. Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley. Good fight. Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Goskov. That's their second fight, right? I think they already fought once. So this is a rematch, I think, even though they didn't put 2 there. And then we got King Green versus Jeremy Stevens. So this is for UFC 328. Great card right here, man. Great card. But yeah, let's finish what they're saying and then I'll break down the main event.
Cortez Acosta. Sean Brady and Joaquin Buckley was going to be a main event. Now it's on the main card in Newark, New Jersey at UFC 328. Also a rematch between Jan Blachowicz and Bogdan Gustaf, and then King Green and Jeremy Stevens. A couple of OGs at lightweight kick things off. But in that main event, Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland. What a matchup for the middleweight title.
Fun card, and obviously the main event is the fight that people have been waiting for a long time. Strickland looked incredible in his last performance, and you know, how much security do you think we're going to need?
Good point. But yeah, that is true. Now, this is one fight I would say they're doing what the fans want. But is it fair to say they're doing what the fans want? Or does it happen to be one of the few times that what the fans want matches what the company wants?
What the fuck is that?
I think that's what it is. I think right now, of course, Sean Strickland won his last fight against Fluffy Hernandez. Big fan favorite in the UFC, big company man. Khamzat Chimaev, current champion. It makes total sense. Even though we already have our rankings, right? We already have our rankings here. And there is supposed to be, at least that's how it's been for a while. There's supposed to be an order of the way things are. And if we go by that order, we got Khamzat Chimaev as the champion. And then we got Dricus du Plessis as number 1. But Dricus already fought Khamzat. So that wouldn't make any sense if they do a rematch, especially with the way that fight was so one-sided. But then the main question is Nassourdine Imavov is number 2. Now, when Kyle Borralho and RDR fought, I assumed that, you know, that fight was for title eliminator or something like that, because the bracket was Kyle Borralho, René de Ridder, Nassourdine Imavov, and Fluffy Hernandez. There were supposed to be these elimination of fights and stuff like that. Of course, RDR versus Fluffy fell through, so it became Fluffy versus Strickland. And Strickland pulled the offset. Fair enough. Fair enough. Don't get me wrong. I love this fight. I love Khamzat versus Strickland. But I don't think it makes sense according to the rankings. Nassourdine Imavov is supposed to be next. Now, to be fair, Khamzat has said several times that he really didn't want to fight Nassourdine Imavov because of the weird conflicts that they have between their countries, and that he's his Muslim brother, blah, blah, blah. Even though he had no problem fighting Ikram Aliskerov, right? Saying he's from the same place as Imavov and he's Muslim as well. But maybe Khamzat has new standards. Won't blame him for that. But then they're setting this fight with Strickland. It makes you ask, so what is happening with Nassourdine Imavov?
What the fuck is that?
Doesn't make any sense at all. Doesn't make any sense. But it is what it is. Even though I feel bad for Imavov, I love this fight. I love Strickland versus Chimaev. I think it's a very good fight for sure. So if we get back to this card right here, right? Let's go ahead and break this one down real quick before we go into the rest of the fights. So, let's break down a very compelling middleweight matchup between Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland for the middleweight title. This fight is fascinating, honestly. Like I said earlier, it is a fascinating fight, if I'm being honest, and I love it. Like I said, even though I think Imavov was supposed to be next, because according to the rankings, he is. You know, it is what it is. This is where we are. Still a good matchup, and it's what the fans want. If I'm being honest, I've heard more fans say they want this fight. They want Chimaev versus Strickland. I've not heard anybody say they want Chimaev versus Imavov. Like, nobody at all is asking for that fight. So I guess it is what the fans want. Like I said, this is one of the few times that the UFC is doing exactly what the fans want. But regarding this fight, I'm just gonna stay straight up, man. It's not close. It's not close. but we have to keep it objective. We have to go with the stats and the data and compare everything. And it's for you guys to decide who your pick is, even though I think it's pretty obvious. So we got Hamza Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. So this fight is fascinating, like I said, because it's pretty much like a clash of relentless grappling pressure versus elite defensive striking and cardio, and defensive grappling as well. Strickland has always been known for his defensive grappling, and he really displayed that in his fight against Anthony Hernandez. It was pretty impressive. I got that pick wrong, of course, but I'll tell you one thing. Hamza Chimaev ain't no fluffy Hernandez, man. If you think that fight is going to play the same way with Strickland defending all the takedowns and all that stuff, you are in for a rude awakening. So on one side, you have Hamza Chimaev, and on one of the most dominant wrestlers and finishers in MMA today. On the other side, you have Sean Strickland, a pressure striker with incredible durability and one of the best defensive shells in the sport. So stylistically, this fight is basically wrestling dominance versus striking volume. Whose skill set will prevail? So we got Hamza Chimaev first. Let's talk about Hamza. Chimaev, of course, burst into the UFC scene with one of the most dominant starts in MMA history. Honestly speaking, I think it's fair to say Chimaev had the most dominant start in MMA history, finishing multiple opponents in dominant fashion, fighting back to back. I think there was a time he fought in like he fought 2 weeks in a row, something crazy like that. But then, of course, the career changed. All of a sudden, he started fighting once in a while, once a year. But it's not fair to say all of a sudden. All that happened after he got COVID. And he got a pretty bad case of COVID, if I'm being honest. Obviously, still dealing with issues from that. So I think it's unfair when fans try to paint him as this inactive fighter or inactive champion. It's not his fault. And we can break all that down, but that's for another video. Also, I've seen a lot of people say, man, Hamza Chimaev is not active. He doesn't like fighting. Well, here you go. The fight is set. It turns out the UFC just wasn't sure what fight they wanted to make, and they were waiting for things to play out. So this was their choice, and I agree with it. So main question, what makes Hamza Chimaev so dangerous is his ability to overwhelm opponents immediately. He has elite wrestling, no doubt. It's obvious whenever you watch his fights. Chimaev's biggest weapon is his wrestling. He shoots explosive takedowns, chains them together, and once he gets on top, he's incredibly difficult to escape. He's ragdolled high-level fighters and controlled elite rounds with ease. Just take a look at the fight with Dricus du Plessis. Literally made Dricus, who was a great champion, you know, his run wasn't that long, but he was a good champion. He made him look like an amateur. He made him look like someone who just walked into a gym for the first time in their life. That's how Hamza made a champion look. Now, of course, Hamza didn't really do this in his fight with DDP, but he has great ground and pound. Once Chimaev gets top position, the damage starts immediately. He throws brutal ground strikes and forces opponents to defend constantly. Now, that pressure often leads to submissions or TKO, but a lot of people like to take the fight with Dricus and say, Hamza is boring. Hamza is no more entertaining with the grappling, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know, every fighter has their off day. Even Sean Strickland has had more off days than entertaining days. But another thing we have to talk about with Hamza is his aggressive finishing mentality. Hamza doesn't fight to win rounds. He fights to finish the fight as quickly as possible. That killer instinct makes him extremely dangerous early in fights. And it's easy to break down Hamza's traits, his skill set and all that stuff, and then look at the fight with Dricus and say, see, but he didn't have the finishing instinct. He didn't do ground and pound. He didn't do all this. Like I said, that was a one-off. I honestly feel like the fight with Dricus is a good example to see grappling dominance, but it's not a great example to see the full skill set of Khamzat Chimaev. But Khamzat Chimaev destroyed legends like Robert Whittaker. He beat Kamaru Usman in a majority decision win, even though I think he lost that fight, but it was very close. Destroyed Gilbert Burns, Li Jiliang, several people. His resume includes one of the toughest fighters in the sports, beating killers like Robert Whittaker, beating Kamaru Usman. Like, these are not easy people to beat. Not only did he beat them, the way he beat them was just so ridiculous. It was just so crazy, man. Made them look like babies in there, except Kamaru Usman. The first round with Kamaru Usman was pretty tough, but the rest, as you can see here, dominated Dricus, destroyed Whittaker, ruined his teeth. And then before that, he beat Kamaru Usman, and then before that, Kevin Holland, Gilbert Burns, Jili Liang, and the list goes on. The guy is dominant. His resume is good. And Khamzat is one of those guys that early in his career, you could tell that he was dominant. You could tell that he had mad potential. You could tell the guy was special, right? You could tell. As you can see, his striking accuracy 61%, takedown accuracy 55%. Good stats here. Good stats here. Like I said, he's a finisher, 40% submission, 20% decision, 40% KO. That is a good stat. But people always tend to go off recent history, recent memory. But it is what it is. But yeah, that's Khamzat Chimaev pretty much in a nutshell. Now, when we talk about Sean Strickland, on the other hand, Sean Strickland, 30 wins, 7 losses, great resume as well. One thing I'll say about Sean Strickland is his resume is elite. He has only fought the best of the best in like the last 3 years. Literally only the top of the rankings. So the fact that he lost to Dricus, you know, like, that was the champion, right? That was the champion. But anyways, Sean Strickland, one of the most unique strikers in MMA. His style looks simple, but it's extremely effective. Sean Strickland is the perfect example of perfecting the fundamental basics of fighting. Those jabs and teeps, they look really easy, but he's such a master at it that it's just so freaking difficult to deal with. Strikers find it difficult to deal with. Grapplers find it difficult to deal with. It's just impossible to overcome. But yeah, of course, one of the main things about Sean Strickland is his elite defensive shell. Strickland uses a high guard and shoulder roll style defense similar to boxing. He blocks and deflects a huge amount of strikes while staying in punching range. That defense helps him dominate elite strikers. That's how he keeps his distance. That's how he keeps rounding up his volume. Strickland also has the relentless pressure. Strickland constantly walks opponents down. He doesn't throw huge power shots. Instead, he overwhelms opponents with jabs, straight punches, high output, and over 5 rounds, that pace can break fighters mentally. But I'll say this, Khamzat is not a fighter you're gonna break mentally. Strickland also has cardio and durability. Strickland has incredible cardio. He can maintain his pace for 5 full rounds, which makes him extremely dangerous in long fights. So the longer the fight goes, if he's standing in there, it's not gonna get easy. But again, that would have been maybe like 3 Khamzat fights ago. Actually, before Khamzat fought Dricus, it would have been easy to say, man, Strickland has better cardio, man. He's gonna destroy Khamzat because the cardio is you just can't match the cardio. But I think Khamzat has pretty much proved that he's got cardio too. I mean, wrestling Dricus for 5 rounds, being dominant, having the total 100% control time, it's not something someone with bad cardio would do. But when we look at Strickland's recent wins, he beat Fluffy Hernandez in his last fight. lost to DDP, which is very funny. Middleweight division, having one win and then fighting for the belt. But you know what? I'm like I said, I'm not mad at it. This is what fans wanted, and this is what fans are getting. Had a win against Paulo Costa. Very uneventful fight, but he won fair and square. That's cool. Before that, he lost to DDP in their first matchup. And of course, his biggest win, his biggest best performance so far, his fight against Adesanya. So that's pretty much Sean Strickland's run. Like I said, elite resume, right? Good record right here. Everybody here is a good name to have on your fight resume when you have them as someone you beat. This is a good resume right here. I mean, how many champions has he fought? Adesanya, DDP, and now he's about to fight Hamzat. So good stuff, good stuff. But anyways. So when we talk about their stylistic matchup, this is pretty much a classic grappler versus striker matchup, but the details make it very interesting. Now, the biggest question in this fight, obviously, can Strickland stop Hamzat Chimaev's takedowns? Chimaev has some of the most explosive entries in the UFC. If he gets Strickland to go to the ground early, things could get very dangerous very quickly. Strickland's takedown defense has improved and is very good and looks very nice. Looks like he can hold his own. But against Hamzat, I don't know. He hasn't faced many wrestlers as powerful as Chimaev. I'll say that. Now, if the fight stays standing, of course, Strickland could have a big advantage. Strickland's style is perfect for frustrating aggressive fighters. His jab, pressure, and defense could make it difficult for Hamzat to land clean for sure. Now, the pace of the fight, another key factor is the cardio. Chimaev tends to start extremely fast, even though he's not really been doing that lately. He's been pacing out his cardio. Strickland, on the other hand, gets stronger as the fights go longer. If Strickland survives the early rounds, the fight could shift dramatically. Now, for the path to victory, Hamzat Chimaev, of course, he's going to shoot early. That's what he's going to do. He doesn't waste time. Once they dap up and shake, if they do that, he's going for the takedowns right away. The same way he did against Kevin Holland. That was a crazy scramble. So he's going to attempt takedowns immediately and try to maintain top control. He's going to look for submissions throughout the fight this time. And trust me, with the little backlash that Hamzat got in his last fight, even though he won it, he's going to want a finish. He's going to be looking for a finish, especially someone like Strickland, because he doesn't like Strickland. These guys don't like each other. When was the last time we had a good grudge match? This is a big fight right here. I'm excited. This is actually the most exciting matchup for the year so far for me. So yeah, he's gonna look for submissions, man. Now, when it comes to Sean Strickland, if Strickland, the game plan is very different for him. He's going to try to defend the takedowns, of course, which he's good at. But again, I don't know how Strickland's takedowns fares against Chimaev. He's, of course, going to use the jab constantly, keep Chimaev at range, drag the fight into deep waters. If the fight reaches rounds 4 or 5, I think Strickland's cardio could become a major advantage, because it's one thing to be the one controlling the fight like he did with Dricus, right? And you still have cardio at the end of the fight. It's another thing if you're being pressured, you get more tired. So the biggest X factor in this fight, to me, is going to come down to the first round. If Chimaev gets early control, he could dominate. But if Strickland defends the early takedowns and keeps the fight standing, I think that momentum could shift, because Hamzat always lands his takedowns. He's never missed a takedowns. He's always landing it. The reason is because even when he attempts it the first time, it doesn't go well. He stays on that clinch, on that control, and just ends up dragging you to the ground. He's never attempted a takedown that was not successful. So if Strickland somehow manages to defend a takedown, especially early in the fight, I think that will mess with Hamzat's head, man. I think that will mess with Hamzat's head. But yeah, looking at this matchup, Chimaev's wrestling is probably the deciding factor, obviously. Strickland is extremely tough and durable, all respect. Like I said, got my pick wrong against with Strickland versus Hernandez, and I owned up. He did impress me. But Chimaev's grappling pressure is on another level, man. He ain't no freaking fluffy. He's not. I think Khamzat Chimaev wins by submission in like round 2, honestly. But if Strickland survives the early grappling exchanges, the fight could turn into a very competitive striking battle. So yeah, like I said, big fight right here, big grudge match. It's been a while. I think this is the biggest grudge match we've had, and I think Bisping said it in this video, since Conor versus Khabib. Not biggest fight in terms of the money it will sell, but like grudge match, like where the fighters genuinely do not like each other. I cannot remember the last fight that was like, even Strickland versus Adesanya, it's not like they hated each other, right? It was more one-sided. Strickland talking his shit, you know, Adesanya, it's like whatever. But this one, these guys don't like each other, man. These guys do not like each other. So I'm very excited to get to duke it out finally in the octagon, and we see who the better fighter is. But yeah, I think this fight could answer a huge question in the middleweight division. Can Khamzat Chimaev dominate another elite middleweight, or can Sean Strickland use his pressure and cardio to neutralize one of the most feared fighters in MMA of all time, honestly speaking? Either way, it will be an it's going to be an incredibly compelling fight. But yeah, I think it's gonna be good, man. I think it's gonna be a good fight. Guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments, all right? And don't forget to like the video if you like the video, all right? But let's finish this video, see if we're gonna break any other fights before the stream is over.
Cortez Acosta. Sean Brady and Joaquin Buckley was going to be a main event. Now it's on the main card in Newark, New Jersey at UFC 328. Also a rematch between Jan Blachowicz and Bogdan Guskov, and then King Green and Jeremy Stevens. A couple of OGs at lightweight kick things off. But in that main event, Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland. What a matchup for the middleweight title.
Fun card, and obviously the main event is the fight that people have been waiting for a long time. Strickland looked incredible in his last performance, and you know, how much security do you think we're going to need from Chimaev?
Quite a lot, Dana. You need to hire some extra people, because Sean Strickland, as we know, the man's a maniac, but he deserves this shot. What he did to Alexander Fluffy Hernandez last time out was just unbelievable. Finished him with that beautiful knee, and of course solidified himself as the #1 contender. But be careful what you wish for. We all know Khamzat Chimaev, the man's got ridiculous knockout power. He's got submissions. He's undefeated. The man's a maniac. And now he's got the cardio, it seems, as well, to go 5 rounds at a hard pace. Put an absolute savage beatdown on Dricus du Plessis last time out. This is an interesting fight.
Yeah, New Jersey's getting another great big-time card coming up on Saturday, May 9th. Then we move to May 16th, where the UFC returns right back here to the Meta Apex and a main event, Dana.
Yeah, Allen versus Costa, featherweight fight. Arnold Allen and Melky Costa.
Yeah, Arnold Allen, I love this guy, of
this
course.
is
20 wins,
interesting.
4 losses, 11 finishes, and he's fought nothing but the best. I mean...
Man, Arnold Allen has had a tough run, bro. Like, let's take a look at Arnold Allen's record. Like, they've been lining this guy up with killers back to back. Jeez. Now Mikos Costa, who's on a great momentum. It's a big skip. I did say after his last fight that they need to line him up with a ranked fighter, and I guess this is it. So Arnold Allen is currently number 8. Costa literally just got into the rankings and is number 12. Of course, Allen, way more experienced. I think is more well-rounded, but Costa, man, Costa is pretty good. Costa is actually good. The only issue I have is the experience difference. I think Allen is way more experienced, but I cannot make a prediction this early, man. This is actually a good close fight.
And then he's going up against Melky Costa. Melky Zyle, 26 wins, 7 losses. And of course, he's now on a 6-fight winning streak. Last time out against Dan Ige, that beautifully timed, perfect spinning back kick to the face of Dan Ige, the first person to ever knock him out. And of course, before that, got another head kick as well.
All right, at the end of May, we go back to China. Macau is where the octagon goes. on May 30th. It'll feature episodes 1 through 4 of the Road to UFC tournament. But of course, on Saturday, the headliner at bantamweight is what we're here for, and that's a great fight.
Song Yadong will take on the former champ, Davison Figueiredo.
And this is a great fight.
Oh, this is a good fight. This is a good fight right here.
Champion. He's been in there with nothing but the best, trying to become a two-weight division champion in the bantam.
Early pick, I think I'm gonna go with Song Yadong, man. Figueiredo is done. He's old now. He's no longer God of War. I don't think he even has the knockout power anymore. They say power is the last thing to go, but I don't know. He hasn't knocked anybody out in a while. Man, I remember when I used to literally be scared of Figueiredo. And, you know, still respect, but hey, the way age catches up, man, it's kind of sad.
Weight division. Yes, he's known for the jiu-jitsu, but the dynamite in the hands is what makes this matchup so special. Song Yadong, as we know, trains with Team Alpha Male. Very, very well-rounded skills. But on the feet, he's got beautiful boxing, and I'm telling you, that's what makes this fight so special.
A couple of other really big fights going on in Macau that night as well. Zhang Minyang against Alonzo Menafield in the co-headliner at light heavyweight. Sergey Pavlovich.
That fight is not going to last.
Taliesin Teixeira at heavyweight. As we return to Macau as well. Then we go to June. Obviously, we have a huge event in Washington, D.C. in June. But first, we have to make the announcement for June 6th right here in Las Vegas in the main event at welterweight, Dana.
Another welterweight main event, Bilal Muhammad versus Gabriel Bonfim.
Yeah, this is a crazy fight, Dana. Gabriel Bonfim, 19.
This is so random, but I like this fight.
19-1, 17 finishes, and the man has no weak areas. He truly can do it all. Beautiful submissions and very excited to watch on the feet. Going up against the former champion, Bilal Muhammad, of course, that presents a huge opportunity with the ability that Bonfim has, with the record that he has as well. If he can go out there and beat somebody like Bilal Muhammad, it solidifies him as one of the top contenders in the division.
And after that, all roads, of course, lead to Washington, D.C. on June 14th, live from the White House. It is UFC Freedom 250. An embarrassment of riches, superstars across the board, and two huge title fights from the South Lawn at the White House on Sunday, June 14th. It's UFC.
Of course, we got the UFC White House.
Freedom 250. Ilya Topuria,
Freedom 250 is a very weird name, but whatever.
Main event for the world. Let's trying to be a 3-division champion as he moves up to heavyweight to take on the former interim heavyweight champion Cyril Gane. Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley, Mauricio Hufia, Michael Chandler, Bo Nichols back in action, and a great featherweight matchup to start the card. Dana, what a deep card. What a lot of superstars are going to be on hand in D.C.
Yeah, and one of the things that we wanted to do when we were building this card was, put on fights that actually mean something in the division. And what do you think? What's your opinion of Cyril Gane and Alex Pereira?
Well, truly, I think it's a better fight than Alex Pereira versus John Jones. I know a lot of people wanted that, but you got
Bisping, man. Did Bisping just say Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane is a better fight than Alex Pereira versus John Jones?
What the fuck is that?
Bisping, bro, you need to calm down with your... I know he's a company man, but jeez, how is that a better fight? I guess, let me hear him say.
I think that John Jones probably would have just tried to wrestle him. We saw that last week with the BMF. We're going to see Cyril Gane and Alex Pereira having a world-class kickboxing match.
I mean, fair enough. Yeah, of course, John Jones has good fight IQ. He's the GOAT. Of course, he's going to try to just take Alex Pereira down. That's the best thing to do. And Cyril Gane is definitely not doing that. Even though he does attempt some some takedowns here and there, but obviously I don't think that's going to be one of his main tactics in this matchup. So fair enough. I get what you're saying, Bisping.
In 4-ounce gloves, and I know we hate to say this because it's kind of cursing it, but I guarantee that is going to be a ridiculous fight.
Yeah, I used to always have a guarantee that there were certain fights you saw that you're like, it's impossible for this not to be good. And then the BMF title happened, last week. But, Pereira and Cyril Gane is very interesting. I never loved Pereira moving up to heavyweight, but he wants it bad. This guy always wants to fight. Cyril Gane moves like a middleweight. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, especially coming off the performance right up until the eye poke that he had, against Tom Aspinall. So,
hey, I'm glad Dana White is acknowledging that it was an eye poke. That's a change of tune for sure.
It's a fun fight. It's obviously very interesting. And if Alex can win this fight, first 3-division champ ever.
A 3-weight division champion.
Facts.
That is
true.
Of course, main event, Justin Gaethje taking on Ilia Topuria. That might.
By the way, guys, I already dropped a video breaking down, putting out the stylistic matchup between Alex Pereira and Cyril Gane. So after the stream, guys, do me a favor, go check that video out. It's the only breakdown and prediction you need if I'm being honest. All right, just keeping it real.
And fight made a ton of sense. Of course, he's the interim champion versus the undisputed champion. Can Ilia Topuria go out there and do what he's done to everyone else? Knock out Max Holloway. Who else did he knock out, Brendan? Help me out here. There's 3 in a row. Crazy fights. Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and who's the other one? Charles Oliveira. If he can knock out Justin Gaethje as well, I mean, talk about 4 crazy knockouts.
And when you think about Topuria when he came in, big submission guy, and then ends up becoming a knockout artist versus another knockout artist. So, I want to say it again. There's no way that fight could
I was just going to say, I think Justin Gaethje could still fulfill that promise based on what he did over Paddy the Baddy to start the Paramount deal. I mean,
these guys are just trying to sell this fight. They know.
The main card, though, Steve Mean Machine Garcia.
They know none of that shit is happening.
Most of those are first-round stoppages going up against Diego Lopez. I mean, what a way to open the card.
Yeah. Well, the action inside the octagon is going to be great. Dana, a lot's been made of the ticket situation on the White House lawn, and the tickets won't be for sale. That doesn't mean fight fans can't flock to D.C. to have a great time.
Yeah, I don't know how many UFC fans have actually been to D.C., but it's a great city, and we're going to have all kinds of activations going on that week. I mean, the press conference is going to be at the Lincoln Memorial. And the way that the White House is laid out, you got the White House, you got the South Lawn, and then there's a road, and then the ellipse is a park that's right there. We're going to be ticketing 85,000 people in the ellipse, and the tickets are free. And we'll announce how we're going to be giving them away soon. But you should plan on going to Washington, D.C. for this event. There's going to be all kinds of activations.
Free tickets. Got to give a round of applause for that one. Sign me up for that. I'm going to be putting notifications on all Dana White's and UFC platforms, wherever they are. So once that is announced on how we could get those free tickets, I'm definitely going to be looking into that, because that's pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to the UFC for that one. I know they're trying to do stuff to save face from recent backlash they've been getting from fighter pay and all that stuff. And like I said earlier, there was a lot of complaints about the UFC making this like freaking Hunger Games, where fighters are just gonna fight in front of only the rich and the powerful and the elites. But obviously they've heard all the rumblings of that, and now they're trying to make amends and give free tickets, which is good. 85,000 free tickets is fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. Nico Bellic, what's up, man? Nico says, only Magomed Ankalaev can take Khamzat Chimaev 0 in the UFC. That is such a random person to put there. Honestly, fair enough. I don't think anybody can take Khamzat Chimaev's 0, man. I think Khamzat Chimaev is just so unbeatable. I'm not gonna lie. I think Islam is like the most unbeatable fighter. I think Khamzat Chimaev comes in. What up, CXP? CXP just subscribed. Shout out to CXP, man. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks, man. Welcome. Guys, go ahead and like the stream, man. I really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe if you like that consistent MMA, UFC, boxing content, combat sports content every other day, every single week, videos, live streams. This is the channel for you. And like I said, after the stream, guys, go and check out my stylistic breakdown for Hamza, for Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane. I actually just posted that earlier today, so make sure you check that out. But let's finish this one.
In the ellipse, there's going to be music, bands are going to be playing, and you can actually sit in the park and watch the fight on the screens, but you'll actually see the whole setup. It's right there. It will be a very unique, cool experience for fight fans, and like I always say, this is like a one-of-one. And for those of you that have never been to Washington, D.C., it's a great city with tons of stuff to do.
Never been to Washington. I wish I had an excuse to go. Sounds like the
You know what? He's doing a good job promoting.
85,000 tickets, you're not charging for a single one.
No charge. 85,000 tickets. We'll announce soon how you get them or how you apply for them, and they're all free.
Maybe I could steal a few, get ahead of the queue.
I got a feeling you're probably going to be there. I'm assuming.
I would like to be.
I'm assuming Zach is going to bring you out there.
The 250-year anniversary and all that, you know. I think it's only fair.
Yeah, you should be real excited about, you know, when we left England and came over here.
Hey. Of course, you know.
Every 4th of July.
Little inside joke going on here.
It never ends. Every 4th of July, I get all these memes and stuff. It's great.
Yeah. Well, UFC Freedom 250, that will be a memorable occasion. And yeah, maybe we could bury the hatchet with Michael Bisping from across the pond.
Please.
On that Sunday, there are 8 UFC events leading up to that 9th event on a Sunday, June 14th in D.C. Here's what's coming up as we lead into UFC 327 in Miami. This weekend, featherweight main event between Josh Emmett and Kevin Pacheos. And it's back to London for both Sariev Loya and Barone Murphy. We're back to Seattle. What a great time we had there last year. Israel Adesanya returns against Joe Pyfer. And then Hanato Moicano and Chris Duncan in Las Vegas. And a big one at lightweight. Plenty of action coming up on Saturdays. See you soon.
All right. Good fights, man. Good fights. Dana White didn't waste our time this time around. Good stuff. Yeah, so Sean Strickland versus Hamza Chimaev. Obviously the biggest fight announced. Like I said, I will I'm excited for this fight. I do feel bad for Nassourdine Imavov. I still don't understand. Now I'm really curious on what his next fight is going to be. Like, who are they going to match him up with? Because I don't get it, man. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I do love this matchup. This is a great fight. I was one of the fans who was calling for this fight. This is what I wanted. I'm glad the UFC is no longer strict with their rankings when it comes to this. In general, I hate it. It's annoying. But when it comes to this matchup, I'm actually glad they skipped Nassourdine Imavov. Even though I do feel bad for him. I feel bad for the guy because I don't get it. Who the hell is he going to fight next? Like, it's actually confusing the more I think about it. He's number 2. Damn, I just realized the next fight might be DDP versus Nassourdine Imavov.
What the fuck is that?
I just realized. Because who else is he going to fight? DDP is number 1. Nassourdine Imavov is number 2. Right? He's not going to... Obviously, Sean Strickland is fighting Hamzat next. He's not going to fight Izzy again. Izzy's already fighting Joe Pyfer. Crazy matchup. I'm worried for Izzy on that one. He's not going to fight anybody below him. So if Strickland is going to fight Hamzat next, I think it's very obvious, very, very obvious the next fight for Imavov is going to be against DDP. I think that's what they're going to do next, man, which is crazy and kind of unfortunate because stylistically, that is not the best matchup for Imavov. That's not a good... I mean, it's not like Hamzat was a better matchup or anything, but DDP? I don't know, man. Maybe the UFC doesn't fuck with Imavov. I don't know. Very, very weird. But yeah, very excited for this one. Big, huge grudge match. Haven't seen this type of grudge match in a while. It's been missing from the UFC. So I'm very, very excited for that one. I think pretty much oh yeah, I saw this clip of Joe Rogan, which is pretty much sums up what is going on right now. It's like, yo, we have a UFC White House, right? But we also have a war going on.
What the fuck is that?
And listen to what Joe Rogan says, which is like, you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah. Are you excited for the White House card? That looks really good.
Yes. I'm excited. It sounds crazy. I know it's going to be very high security and high stress and weird to have a fight at the White House in the middle of a fucking war. I would hope that the war will be sorted out by June, but quite honestly,
yeah, I don't know
I'm
about
not
that.
confident that that's going to be the case.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so that would be weird.
Yeah.
Having this very high-profile event where everybody's in one place at one time right there.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not excited to be
Well,
there?
that seems like,
Yeah.
that seems like you're asking for...
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that at all.
How could you not think of that?
Well, because I'm not going to be there. You're the one
Because he's a dumbass.
Yeah.
Are you?
It's stupid, that's why. I'm just kidding. Hey, what's up, Paikan? Boring card, bro. Definitely boring card. I don't think Strickland can handle Chimaev wrestling. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I won't say the card is boring though. I won't say the card has some pretty good fights. I think it has some pretty good fights. But yeah, I can agree that main event has potential to be a snooze fest. Just Hamzat ragdolling and wrestle fucking Strickland for the whole 5 rounds.
What the fuck is that?
Like someone said in the chat earlier, it's just gonna be a Hamzat versus DDP again, pretty much, and that's fair. That's fair. It does have potential to be a snooze fest. Whenever stylistically the matchup is just so one-sided, then yeah, it's most likely not going to be the most fun fight. If we're being honest, if we're being real, so I understand what you're saying, but I don't think the card itself is boring. If we go back here, let's go back and see what the lineup was for that card for Strickland versus DD versus Hamzat. Let's see. So I think Hamzat versus Sean Strickland, obviously the main event. Yes, that fight is exciting to see it play out, but there is a high potential that it becomes a boring fight for sure. Volkov versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. I think that's a banger of a fight. That fight is definitely going to end in a knockout, so I don't think that one is boring. You got Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley. Very, very good matchup right there. 2 of the top guys right there. But I could see that one being a snooze fest because both guys wrestle. But if I'm being honest, I don't think Buckley has a good wrestling. I don't think Joaquin Buckley is the best grappler. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I think Sean Brady is way better. So it might be one-sided. Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Goskov. I think that's a very good fight. That's an entertaining fight. Guaranteed finish there. Well, not guaranteed, but... Wait, hold on. Let me see. Was who did Jan Blachowicz fight last? I could have sworn he already fought Bogdan. Yeah, it was a draw. So it's the second fight. Maybe they just didn't put the 2. And then Kane Green versus Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy Stevens?
What the fuck is that?
I'm just now seeing Jeremy Stevens. I didn't see that before. I didn't know he was back in the UFC. That's very interesting. What's up, J King? You guys are hating on Sean Strickland. Fluffy couldn't even take Sean down. Yeah, Fluffy couldn't take Sean down, J King, but Hamzat Chimaev is not Fluffy Hernandez, man. These are 2 very different guys. Fair enough, Sean Strickland has been very impressive with his performance. Very impressive with his run against his fight against Fluffy. I picked Fluffy to beat him with the grappling. You know, I thought stylistically it was just a mismatch. I wasn't hating on him, but of course I picked wrong, and I was wrong. But I'm telling you, bro, Hamzat is different. Hamzat's wrestling is different. This is what I was saying earlier when I was breaking down the fight. Hamzat has never failed a takedown attempt. Every time he goes for a takedown, he always lands it. And the reason is, even when he doesn't initially land that takedown, he holds on to his opponents, right? And then drags them to the ground. Like, he doesn't hold back. He doesn't waste time. And he doesn't, like, Hamzat is not going to try to take you down and then I guess it didn't work out, so maybe in round 2 he would try again, I guess. No, he doesn't do any of that. When he tries to take you down, that's all he's doing. So I don't know. I think I don't think people are hating on Sean Strickland. I think people are just being real, you know. But can never count Sean out. I'm not counting Sean Strickland out. I think he can definitely pull something off. He's one of the biggest upset guys, so it's possible. But against Hamzat, I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess I could have watched the whole thing here. Let's see. Yeah, we already watched this. So yeah, that's the big news for UFC, man. All over my timeline. Hamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. Hamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. Everybody's breaking the news. And it looks like this was actually broken. So Amr Tarukian reports that he has been told by the UFC that he will receive the next title shot versus the winner between Justin Gaethje versus Ilia Topuria at the White House. If Ilia wins, he will likely vacate and leave the next title fight at lightweights. Interesting. If Ilia Topuria wins, he will likely vacate and leave the next title fight at lightweight between Arman versus Charles Oliveira 2. What?
What the fuck is that?
I thought I was going to be happy about this, but I can't believe Ilia is gonna vacate again and go to welterweight. So Ilia is pretty much chasing Islam. That's what's happening. What is going on with Mavov? Is he injured? That's what I was saying, J King. I didn't understand. That's what I talked about earlier because I was so confused. Even though I like the matchup with Hamzat versus Strickland, it doesn't make any sense at all because Imavov is literally number 2. And I talked about how there was a whole bracket of fighters between Imavov, Kyle Borralho, René de Ridder, and Fluffy. And one of those guys, man, the way the UFC works, man, it's really it's unpredictable. Those 4 guys that I mentioned, right? One of them at one point was the guaranteed assumption of who was going to fight Hamzat next. But then Sean Strickland just came here and was like, fuck all that shit. He then beat Fluffy and now he's next. And it makes you question what's next for Nasruddin Imavov. Is he injured? Because I thought that fight was in the works, man. I really thought that was going to be next. But I don't know. We've not heard anything from Imavov. He's not like the most vocal fighter. So I don't know if he's injured. It's either that or they're going to set up a fight between Imavov or DDP. Whether or not he's injured, I do think that's what's going to be next for him, which is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate, because I don't know what else is he supposed to do to fight for a freaking belt. The guy's been on a good win streak. To be fair, he did lose to Strickland, who is right below him already. So it's not and there's the thing, even though Imavov is number 1, it's not a crazy argument for Strickland to be next over Imavov. Number 1, that's what fans have been asking for. Number 2, Strickland beat Imavov, but still, according to the rankings at least, that it doesn't make sense. But yeah, J King, I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening with Imavov, but I do think he's gonna fight DDP next. So according to Arman Tsarukyan, right, Ilia Topuria has indicated that he's going to vacate the lightweight belt, which is very interesting, which means obviously he's going to go to welterweight. He's not going to go back down to featherweight. And Arman says the UFC has told him he's going to fight next. And if Ilia wins, which obviously he's going to win, except something crazy happens. But if Ilia wins, then It's going to be Arman versus Charles Oliveira too, which is, I'm really not interested in that, but I guess. Where did he say this? I guess this is the clip of him saying.
We are waiting for the Ilya versus Justin, and after that I'll fight them.
Oh, really? That's like kind of official?
Yeah, it's not official, but they say like that.
Okay. Okay, so you'll be the next in line once that fight happens.
Yes, and I can fight with the winner, Oliveira and Holloway as well, because I don't want to wait too much. So if they offer me Oliveira or Holloway, I'll fight them, because I don't want to wait 1 year for the fight.
No, of course.
We are waiting for the...
Interesting. Now, I really think it's funny how, because even when the UFC White House was announced, right, and people have always said this, there's always this bullshit narrative that Islam Makhachev is ducking Ilia Topuria. He doesn't want to fight Ilia Topuria, which is so stupid. So Ilia decided to vacate at featherweight, move up to lightweight. They didn't want to fight anybody except either Charles Oliveira or Hamza, or Islam. But then Islam moves up to welterweight, so obviously he's no longer at lightweight. Literally did the same thing that Ilya did, but for some reason people started saying Islam is ducking Ilya, which doesn't make sense because the welterweight division is tougher. It's the toughest division right now. I mean, it's so stacked. So it doesn't make sense ducking Ilia Topuria to go to a way tougher division that he's never fought in. But of course, hindsight, he beat JDM's ass. And of course, super fight, big fight. We wanted Ilya versus Islam, especially for the UFC White House card. That's what a lot of people expected. But it's my opinion that the UFC does not want to pay these fighters to make the big fights. It's what we've been seeing. We've seen John Jones, the whole situation with John Jones, talk about fighter pay, freaking Ronda Rousey, Francis Ngannou, all these guys, they've all talked about fighter pay. Sean Strickland has talked about fighter pay. So they don't want to pay these fighters to make the big fights. So it's so crazy that if Ilya wins, he actually is going to move up. So if you are going to sit here and say, oh, Islam is ducking Ilya, then you have to say Ilya is ducking Arman. And I think that is a more legit claim because Ilya is absolutely ducking Arman Tsarukyan. I think that's a fact. He's been avoiding this guy for a while. Ilya is the first champion that I've seen that said, oh, he doesn't want to fight Arman because Arman pulled out from his last fight.
What the fuck is that?
I've literally never heard that excuse before. I've never heard that. So it's like, I can understand the fans being upset that a fighter pulled out of a fight. They disappointed. They didn't come through. But I've never heard a fighter say they're not going to fight another opponent because they pulled out of their last fight. Like, bro, that's just cool, bro. You just ducking.
What the fuck is that?
You just ducking. So, yeah, I think someone says it here. I guess Ilya is scared of Arman. And then someone says, y'all sound stupid. How can Ilya be afraid of Arman but keep calling to fight Islam? Islam is the better fighter than Arman. Islam is the better fighter than Arman. But the issue is, of course, Ilya will rather face Islam. That's like low risk, low reward, right? Islam is the #1 pound for pound double champion, just like Arman, who's his #2 pound for pound double division champion. So it makes sense that he would rather lose. If he's going to lose, he would rather lose to Islam than Arman. And to me, I think Arman is more of a stylistic nightmare for anybody in the lightweight division, honestly speaking. The guy is super well-rounded. He's one of those guys who's not great at anything, but he's very, very good at everything. And that's not someone Ilya wants to face. That's not someone Ilya wants to face. So I think it's just very hypocritical the way fans would say Islam is somehow ducking Ilia Topuria, even though that was a narrative when the UFC White House was confirmed. But then Dana White says that's bullshit. And then he came out, oh, actually, Islam is actually injured. So that's why he couldn't fight. He wasn't ducking Ilya. That's just some crazy narrative.
What the fuck is that?
But the same fans who are criticizing Islam, they go silent when it's obvious that Ilya Topuria has been ducking Arman Tsarukyan since he got into the lightweight division. And that's a fact. That is a fact. All right, let's see what else. What else before we get out of here? So Dana White wasn't a fan of the BMF belts.
I guarantee that is going to be a ridiculous fight.
Yeah, I used to always have a guarantee that there were certain fights you saw that you're like, it's impossible for this not to be good. And then the BMF title happened, last week. But
I guarantee that
Dana White letting it slip there. All right, so tweet from MMA Joey. Yeah, this press conference is going to be absolutely insane. MMA Joey says, I believe the UFC wanted this fight to headline the White House. The White House turned down having Hamzat and Strickland headline because it would be a bad look between Strickland's mouth and a Chechen destroyed him and made him. Fair. I don't know if this is a White House main event though. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. That is it. Ain't nothing else new. Okay, so Dana saying the same thing. So Dana wasn't a fan of the BMF belts. So Arman Tsarukyan's advice to Justin Gaethje. Let's see what Arman is saying.
Ну и последнее, вот ты уже не раз давал понять, что Гейджи против Ильи Топури это мисс-матч. Вот все-таки какой бы, не знаю, совет бы дал, может быть, Гейджи в той части, чтобы он там лучше выглядел, я не знаю, более конкурентным был бой.
Я бы ему сказал бы травмироваться во время подготовки, дать мне...
Yeah, it's not in English, but Arman says I would recommend Justin Gaethje get injured in a camp and let me step in and get the title. After that, he can fight me. That's funny. I think that is it. Oh yeah, exactly what we were talking about regarding Ilya, Islam, who's a duck, who ducked who. This is what Arman Tsarukyan's manager said about the whole booking. Check this out right here.
We can make a fight. You can fight Islam or Gaethje, right? And we actually said, let's take Islam. We'd love to fight Islam because remember, guys, it's not about picking an opponent because one is harder or easier or scared or not scared. Money's involved, and the bigger the fight, the more money it is. And so we wanted to make the most amount of money, right, that we possibly could. So we were focused on getting an Islam fight. So then Wednesday, I got asked, would you guys want to do this or that? And we said absolutely. They gave us a number. We said absolutely not, and then we didn't hear anything after that. The money that was offered was like small. It was more like, if this fight could happen, here's the numbers. Are you guys down for it? We're like, not at those numbers. Then we get a call that said, hey, if we can make a fight, you can fight Islam or Gaethje.
So the money was small, and they, like I said, they're lowballing Ilya, man. They lowballed Ilya. They tried to lowball him with his fight against Islam, and they lowballed him with his fight against Gaethje. The UFC does not want to pay these fighters to make big fights. Think about it. They've already gotten paid from the whole Paramount deal. No more pay-per-views. So fighters don't even have to sell the fights. So they can literally ignore fans and do what works for them. And the UFC strategy of making money, instead of finding new creative ways to generate more revenue, they're just cutting all the costs that they can cut. And the biggest way to cut costs is to pay the fighters piss poor change. And that's the strategy they're doing. And it's working out for them. I mean, think about it. How is the GOAT, freaking John Jones, talking about freaking fighter pay? They didn't want to pay him enough to fight Alex Pereira. It's crazy. Cain Velasquez released his first statement after serving 11 months in prison.
Hi everyone, now that it's been a couple weeks since my release, I've had some time to kind of get back into things, get back into a normal way of life, get used to just doing the normal things, being with the home with the family, being there for my kids. And I just wanted to thank everybody for their love and support. Your words of inspiration.
Shout out to Kane. Happy he's out. All right, I think that is it. Belal Muhammad versus Gabriel Bonfim. Very random, but I like the fight. I like the fight. But I think we are done. 328. All right, that's it, man. That is it, guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm going to be posting several clips as videos from this. Guys, go ahead and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, I post content every single day, either a video or a live stream. Okay, not every single day, but most days of the week.
What the fuck is that?
Let me know, cap. Most days of the week. But yeah, guys, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe if you like that consistent MMA, UFC, boxing breakdowns, content, fight analysis, predictions, all that good stuff. I'm very objective and I'm accurate for the most part. So go ahead and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Like I said, I did, which let me put this in the chat right now. Earlier today, I put out a video breaking down Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. So you guys do me a big, huge favor, and right after the stream, go and check that out. Drop a like, drop a comment. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate that. So guys, go ahead and check out that video before we sign out, okay? Let's see if there's any last things here.
The pilot kills him in the first round, by the way. I can just fight him with on the sofa, just playing. Give him one leg, and he can't even submit like this, man. And he's the worst fighter from UFC. UFC just gotta cut him.
Oh man, it's funny, man. I'm not gonna lie. So Muhammad Mokaev reveals he's been offered a fight against Demetrius Johnson and is waiting on his decision. Interesting. And Mokaev says it's an MMA. See what happens next. Interesting. This is how they should have revealed the UFC White House card. Yeah. Just, I mean, they knew it was freaking disappointing. So the thing about the UFC White House is that they haven't revealed what fight, but apparently a fight fell through, couldn't pull through, someone got injured, a fight got canceled, something happened. So they didn't finish setting up those fights up until the night before the announcement, and they had already told fans and everybody else that they were going to announce those fights. So there was nothing they could do. Literally everyone has said this. Of course, all the parties involved, the managers, the fighters. Justin Gaethje has said he didn't even know where he was on the card until the day before, and he didn't even know if he was the main event. They told him he's gonna find out when they announce it. The manager of Ilya Tuporia and John Jones has also said they were negotiating that night, the night before the announcement. So there was just no way for them to do that grand, nice announcement, which is, I don't understand why they won't. Why wouldn't they just get the fighters to sign for the fight and confirm it and then announce it? I don't get, like, this. The UFC is a fly-by-night company for real, man, because I don't understand their strategy of setting up fights that fighters don't even know about or haven't agreed to. And it's happened so many times, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Yeah, this is a clip here.
Wednesday, I got asked, would you guys want to do this or that?
So listen, this is about Ilia Topuria. Wednesday night, I was asked, would you want to do this or that, a.k.a. Gaethje and Islam. We're talked about. Listen to what he says next.
And we said absolutely. They gave us a number. We said absolutely not, and then we didn't hear anything after that, right?
I mean, think about it. Every champion is saying this now. The UFC doesn't want to pay these guys. They don't want to pay Ilia Topuria to even fight Islam. They said, oh, here's the number.
Crazy.
Absolutely not. That's them saying absolutely not. We're being underpaid. Listen to it. But then they had to come running back. They had to come crawling back because whatever that third fight was that fell out of the card.
And so, to me, there was no fight going on. Wednesday,
Crazy. Yeah, that's the issue, man. They don't want to pay their fighters, pretty much. Pretty much. Earl Hawani's reaction to the Sean Strickland versus Hamza.
Chimaev versus Sean Strickland is official. May 9th, Newark, New Jersey. Headliner for UFC 328. Massive fight at 185 pounds. I know that there are going to be some people who are upset that Nasruddin Imavov is not getting this title shot, and I think that's a very warranted feeling. As far as the middleweight contenders who have not fought for the belt just yet, he is the most deserving. There is no doubt about that. His last win over Caio Borralho, I think, cemented that, and I think he deserved a shot at the belt. That being said, Sean Strickland is one of the more, I guess you could say, popular, one of the more interesting, one of the more followed, whatever word you want to use, fighters in the UFC, and certainly at 185 pounds. And he has made a habit since winning that belt in 2023 of winning one, losing one, winning one, losing one, but he continues to get a title shot. He beats Israel Adesanya, wins the belt, loses his next one. That was to GDP. He beats Paulo Costa, gets another title shot, loses that one. He beats Fluffy Hernandez, now he's fighting for the belt.
True.
It's a pretty damn good run. That's 3 title shots in the span of 2 years and change. And obviously this is a big one, and it's a very bit of a rivalry, if you want to call it that. I mean, Sean Strickland throws a lot of shots at Khamzat, as does Khamzat. I would imagine Khamzat a lot more motivated going into this fight.
Alright, audio is not even coming in well, but yeah, that's my cue, man. We're gonna end it there. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. Appreciate you guys. Check out my new videos. We're gonna be posting, probably won't post until Sunday, but I'll probably go live tomorrow for this weekend's cards predictions. But thanks, guys. Peace out.
Saucy.